Now, today we are going to be looking at numerical patterns, and we're going to come up with rules based off of those numerical patterns. So today we're going to focus on shapes, but we're going to also count them as well, okay? So one key thing to keep, or two key things to keep in mind is if we notice our pattern is increasing, we're either going to do one of two things. We're either multiplying or we're adding. Okay. Now, when we look at decreasing, if we notice that our pattern is going down or decreasing, that means our rule is dividing or subtracting. So let's look at this. All right. So I have stage 1, 2, and 3 of some blocks. All right. So we're going to first we're going to count up our blocks. So here I see that there is 1 block. Here I see that I have 3 blocks. And here I have 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks. Okay. Now, one thing I notice is that the number of blocks is actually increasing. So that means I'm going to be multiplying or I'm going to be adding. So I'm going to take that decreasing off. So I'm doing one of those two things. Now let's look. Well, I see from 1 to 3, I can add 2. All right. So let's do it. Let's see if that's right. So from 1 to 3, if my rule is add 2, that would be true. Now let's go on to the next one. If we went from 3 to here, if it was add 2, this would be 5, but it's not. So that means my rule is not add 2, okay? Now let's think of something else. These look like multiples to me, so I think I might be doing multiples. So let's see. From 1 to 3, what could I multiply to get me from 1 to 3? Okay, I know that I could possibly multiply 3. So let's look. If I had 1 and I wanted to multiply that number by 3, I would get 3. Now let's see if we do it again. If we multiply this number by 3, so 3 times 3, that's 9. So we're right. So what about the 4th stage? If we had to come up with the 4th stage, how many boxes would be in that stage 4? Now let's think. Our rule is multiply 3. So I'm going to take my last one, which was 9, and I'm going to multiply it by 3. I know that 9 times 3 is 27. So in my 4th stage, or in stage 4, I would have a total of 27 boxes there. We're going to look at the next one. We're going to still put these back up here, increasing or decreasing. Now, I'm going to count them up just so I can see. So I see I have 4, 8, 12, 16 smiley faces here. In the next one, I see that I have 8 smiley faces, and now I have 4 smiley faces. Now, when I look here, I notice that my numbers are actually decreasing or going down. So my rule is going to be either division or subtraction, okay? Now, from 16 to 8, well, I know I could subtract 8, and that will give me 16, okay? So let's try 16. Let's see if it's going to be subtract 8, okay? So from 16, if I subtract 8, that will give me 8, but let's go on to the next one to see if I'm right. 8 minus 8 would be 0. I know that's not right here because I have a 4. So my rule cannot be subtract 8. Let's look again. Let's see, maybe it could be division of some sort. So in order for me to get from 16 to 8, if I divide, I know I would have to divide by 2. So 16 divided by 2 does give me 8. Now let's look. 8 divided by 2, that does give me 4. So I think my rule is going to be divide by 2. Now let's think, if we were doing stage 4, how many smiley faces would be in stage 4? So let's look. We had 4 in stage 3. I need to divide by 2. So that means I would have 1, 2 smiley faces.